things about games that make it fun for you, whether it be something you specific, like I like to play this type of thing, or like the state of the game specific.
Okay.
I'm getting double audio somewhere. Something you did just now, sort of. Oh God.
Uh, Jared, make sure in your second window that you have the the
Uh,
microphone muted and that
yeah,
the speaker is also muted.
yeah, it's all off. It's been off.
Okay.
Now, can they hear us on the live stream?
No, not yet.
Are you sure, Zach? That's it. Yeah, they can hear.
Hey, they can hear us. Cool.
What's up, homies?
We're just talking to you before the stream starts.
It's like, what's up, all you silly goblins? It's March 19th, Thursday, 8:30 Central. I'm Jared, and this is Constant MTG. We are live, and I'm here with my partner. Little known fact: this guy was my high school pre-calculus tutor, and I was flunking that class before he stepped in, and he got me through it all, algorithmic and everything. So, Ian, welcome back to the show once again.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
I'm glad that folks know that that's how long we've known each other. Me plus you equals us was our saying back in
Calculus.
pre-cal. Hmm.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, little. That'll age you a little if you know that reference.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We had requests for a name for the snake, um, and we thought we were still able to be heard at that point. So we were brainstorming some names for the snake, and I'm pretty sure we didn't have to go very long because Jared came up with it immediately. So, Jared, would you like to tell our fans
The snake's
what the
name
name?
is Yeah, snake's name's Boris. Uh, it feels right. It feels good. It feels warm like a cup of soup on a winter day. And it's
Hmm.
also because the snake happens to be an Ouroboros. So Boris the snake. Maybe one day we'll learn how to animate him, and he could be a special guest on the show.
Yeah. And as far as the voice of Boris, I think we're still he still hasn't come out of his shell,
I
perhaps to
thought
that degree yet.
I thought we'd go old school. I put an ad in the newspaper, a little circle it, a little want ad, a little job search.
Yep.
I'm hoping to get I'd say demographic is like 60 to 87-year-old
Hmm.
Northeastern voice actor, a
Yeah.
thick Long Island sort of, Boris. Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. We'll keep everybody posted and updated on that. That was not one of our planned segments for the night, but just
Mm.
sometimes we gotta reveal a little bit about what we've been doing in the background all week.
Yep.
But I will say we have a pretty packed agenda, and so I do want to share that with everybody, and then we'll get right into it. So we have our topic of the night is what actually makes Commander fun.
Hmm.
And I think this is a surfacing topic. It seems like I've been having more and more conversations with people about fun games, unfun games, and so I thought it would be a nice topic to bring to the group. And so that we'll discuss that a little bit. Ian and I are going to have our list of things, like 5 things that we think bring fun to the table,
Yep.
and then we're going to go to the mail room, and I'm going to try to blast through as much mail as possible tonight. There is a whole stack of it. Look at this. This is like so many envelopes. I don't want to show off addresses or anything, but it's like pretty massive. Some really
Yeah.
good stuff in here. We may not get to it all. We may save it. Some of the packages are cards for a deck I'm building, so I will be opening all of them this week. So I'm hoping to blow through them so you all could see the reaction because I forgot what I ordered.
Cool.
After the mailroom, we are going to do a very cool deck tech. It's a deck tech for one of Ian's absolute favorite decks, Watcher in the Water. And we've been talking about doing this deck tech for a very long time. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Ian, any thoughts?
I'm excited to do Watcher. I prepped. I have it all ready to go to talk through with everybody. I'm excited to talk about what makes the game fun. I think I think we should frame more things that way with this game. There's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of things to find not fun with the game. I know, but I think it's a time in the world where we need to hone in on positivity whenever we can.
That's kind of what my
Um,
was.
yeah, yeah. I'm super excited to see some people that joined. Greg, okay. First off, I just want to give Greg a huge shout out. For those that don't know Greg, Greg is in our Discord server. He's also one of our patrons, one of our earliest patrons, I might add. And Greg has found some of the most tricky bugs with the website that I have been able to work through. And it's gotten the website into a much more stable place in a lot of ways. So I just want to give Greg a shout out. Thanks for being here, buddy. We also have Evelyn. Um, Evelyn is a local hero of ours, and may or may not be close to somebody that has been recorded with us. So I'm glad that you're here as well. Hunter, of
She's
course, is
the Queen
here.
of Hydras, by the way. Queen of
She
Hydras.
she is, yes. I heard she has a killer Bumbleflower deck too. I didn't get to play it yet though.
Yep.
Um, and then of course we have Hunter, who is just the best because he always gives Jared a hard time. And then we also have Jazz here. And again, Jazz, thank you for showing up as usual. another person that may or may not be close to someone that is a pretty big person in our Discord. So thank you to everyone for showing up. And yeah, we could just jump right into it if you want
Let's
to
jump
recap
in.
last
Let's jump
week.
in. Yeah, so last week was fun. I kind of forgot what we've done so much over the last few weeks. It's kind of crazy.
Mhm.
Um, what did we do last week, Ian? Why am I just completely
Well,
blanking?
I mean, Jared, geez, Zach did his assassin deck.
That's
Um,
right.
mhm,
Rat
and
Hawk
Rad
Hawking
Rad
and
Hawk Tua, yeah, Hawk Tua on the thing.
yes.
Yes,
You
Unforgettable. And
speak you
actually,
speak some respect on Ratan Hakatua's name.
yeah,
there he
whatever.
is.
Gesundheit. Um,
There he is.
yeah, that was a great deck tech. I
Where's
think
my
actually,
squelcher?
stop it. It was awesome because so many of the cards were cards that we hadn't seen before, and Ian and I
Yeah,
both love that.
yeah.
In a deck tech, it's like, oh my god, what is this thing? That's crazy. I'm gonna put it right into this deck, and that may be the winner so far. It's
I
definitely leading the race in terms of bangers that nobody knew about, or at
Yes.
least
Yes,
Yes.
these two nobodies didn't know about them.
and I will say that I wish listed at least two commons from that deck. One of which was that counter spell that
It's a
Zach.
win right there. Don't
Mhm.
make a sound.
Yeah, don't make a sound. So yeah, it's on my wish list, on constant lists. I posted my wish list. Actually, I forgot. I posted it today. I meant to do it, but it's up there. So if anyone's got anything I'm looking for, hit me up. Add me as a friend.
I love it.
We
I
could
love it.
trade through the site.
Trading through the ages. That's actually a good name for like something. Trading
Hmm.
through the ages.
Probably a magic card, or should be.
Yeah, it feels like like a. We got to think that through. I'll,
We
I'll I'll
should.
come up with something.
We
I'll come
should.
up with something. I'm still waiting for them to print Nick Fury's cell phone. Like I really am proud of that one.
Won't
It's a
happen.
banger. I'm excited. Um, but that being said, let's get into our first topic. We have so much ground to cover here.
We do.
The topic is what brings fun to your commander table, and we'll keep it broad. I think, like Ian said, this is a source of happiness for many of us, a source of
Mhm.
distraction from the sort of the hamster wheel that is life sometimes.
Yep.
And there are things that are antithetical to feeling the way you want to feel when you're playing Magic, when you're taking time out of your day to hang with people you care about, or play random people because you're just in it for the game, the love of the game.
Yep.
So, Ian, I've got a fairly short list of mine. Like I have 5, 6 ish, and so hopefully we can kind of go back and forth. But I think what we'll
Yeah.
end up doing is I think the goal of this topic is really to land on some universal truths about fun at Magic. And
Yep.
maybe it's not possible. Maybe it's so diverse what people want to get out of the game. But I think there's a couple in there that feel right. So
Yeah. I
I
have a feeling, and we're, by the way, everyone watching, we did not plan ahead of time what we're coming to this conversation with. But just knowing Jared, I have a feeling that you and I will probably align on quite a few of these things. So there's a chance that if you say one, I might say that was in my list, and
yep,
that might just be one that we can agree on.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well
So
let's open it up.
we'll wax poetic a little bit. I'll let you go first.
Okay. So the first one I have, and this is deck building wise. So this is something that I value in my own decks that brings fun to the table for me. And again, we're
Okay.
talking about like us. Like, what do you get out of it? Hopefully, everybody's getting something fun out of it. And I
Hmm.
put playing a deck that feels different every time. And that one might be divisive because a lot of decks have a very, very game plan focused line. But for me, I get bored of decks that feel the same every time pretty quickly. And so this may
Hmm.
not be a universal truth, but it's a Jared truth. I like to play decks that feel different and fresh,
Hmm.
kind of time you play them.
I definitely agree with that. I think that's I inadvertently build that way, I think, to a degree. Um as those of you who have played me enough in Magic know that the decks I like the most in Magic typically have a you win the game card. Or two, depending on the deck it is. And the reason that I play those isn't because I just want to instantly win. It's because those cards make you earn the win in a unique way that doesn't involve getting your opponent to zero. So I like to have this little mini game that I can play in the game, you know, that I'm also trying to get people potentially down to zero. So yeah, like some of my favorite decks, there's I can win a few different ways, at least two ways generally. And that way, you know, I've won with Vorpal Blade, like out of nowhere, just because that just happened one time. And that was really cool. That actually, I'll never forget that game. That was one of the best games in recent memory that I played. So yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And that's actually a good segue into one of mine, which is also related to deck building. And also, I think what I like to bring to a table when I sit down and play with people, and kind of what inspired constant lists as well, is I love to find cards that I had no idea existed. And I like to put those into decks, and I will absolutely play a card that is unique or weird or the same version of a card with different art or flavor over a staple any day of the week. That's like a non-negotiable. Um, and I love when I play a card like that and it does the thing it's supposed to do, which is usually kind of cool. But then every like at least one person at the table like, what the hell is
Let
it?
me see that.
Where is that card from? Like
Yeah.
the most recent card that I can think of that I played that did that was City of Solitude from Visions, and it's a green 3 drop that makes it so players universally players cannot cast spells if it's not their turn. So it's kind of a group huggy kind of card, but it's like Grand Abolisher, but in green. And every time I play it, there's at least one person that's like, "What is this card?" And a lot of people are like, "What is this set?" Like a lot of folks that we're playing with these days, you know, started playing within the last few years, and so you know, cards like Visions or Mirage or Legends or like any of these older Alliances is a good one. I love Alliances. That is some of my favorite cards. Those sets, like people haven't seen those set symbols or own any cards from those sets. So that's one of my favorite things to do.
I love it. And you know what? You touched on it a little bit, but cards that you said cards people haven't seen before. Another pocket of this, and this isn't my next one, so don't count it.
Okay.
But I do love playing cards that are terrible everywhere else except for your deck.
Hmm.
Uh, which is why I like the Dan format so much, is because it is an 80 card deck filled to the brim with cards that are actually horrible, but because
Hmm.
of that format, because of that deck, they're amazing. And so I do
Hmm.
love, like, one of my favorite cards in my bird deck is Pygmy Kavu, and it's like a 15-cent card. Nobody knows what it is.
Yep.
And it is the best card in that deck, but it's trash everywhere else.
Yeah.
Um,
I do have to say, and I will give credit where credit is due. Hunter is spot on. Hunter in our group plays an Atali deck, and that's like his deck. Like he has
yep.
made Atali his own kind of brand in our play group. But I've never played that deck and have it played the same way.
There you
And
go.
part of it's because he's kind of playing with your cards as much as his cards, so it does add this sort of flavor dynamic to the game that is really cool. And that is very true. As much as that deck is incredibly difficult to play against, it also does keep the game different and interesting, and it does keep you on your toes every single time.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
All right. Let me do the next one is, for me at least, I like playing decks that don't prevent people from doing the thing that they want to do. So I think decks that almost are agnostic to what other people are doing, and maybe that's the wrong word for it, but decks that allow people to do the thing creates a fun table. People want their deck to do stuff. And so I think that's a component of fun that I think is universal. Like, that doesn't mean I'm completely anti counterspell deck. That doesn't mean I'm anti interaction. You know, I think when you've got 4 or 5 cards on the stack, that's like a really fun moment. But it's more broadly just letting people do what they want to do with their deck and letting the best sort of fighter win.
Yeah, I will say I agree with that to an extent, as I sit between 2 Azorius decks and my deck box that I've labeled my make people angry box, because it's 2 decks that I know are just not nice. One's Esper and one is mono blue. So I do agree with that, though. I think part of this comes down to the player, right? I have chosen multiple times, and I think this is where I can play a deck like I don't know, Ariete, right? Ariete, I'm gonna deck tech that eventually, but it's a theft deck. That's what it is. And there have been a lot of times where the right play that I should do is just not the right play for the table. And I want people to enjoy where we are in the game, so I'll steal someone's arcane signet instead of, their 4-drop creature that they just played, that they haven't even gotten to do anything with. So I think there is a level of understanding when you go into a game. You know, listen, when I sat down and played against like Crick and a prowess deck, and I can't remember the other deck that was at the table that time, but I was like, okay, this is a no holds bar. Like, we are going, best is going to win fastest, and that's how we have to play. And we all agreed to that. But I think generally, it's nice if you don't prevent people from playing their deck, unless it's agreed upon. Like, I'm playing mono blue, I'm playing Brawl, Chief of Compliance. Like, what that's going to do. So, like,
Yep.
is everyone cool with that, or should I play something else? Um, yeah,
Yeah, let's
Zach,
bring Zach
and
in.
actually, Zach
So
has a
far, yeah.
Brawl deck, so maybe Zach should chime in on this one too.
Well, I do want to kind of touch on that a little bit. I overall agree. I do want to bring up a comment from Hunter in chat. Don't you own a Turgid deck?
Yes, I do.
What I want to mention.
Can I respond to that? Because
is
he's talking directly to me on that one.
you absolutely
You
absolutely
My
can.
response to
However,
Hunter is my Turgid deck doesn't want you to not do your thing. It wants me to do your thing as well as you do your thing. So that's the thing about Turgid. There's a lot of things. Do your thing. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm also gonna do your thing too. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. A maniac
I think
traded me for this deck, so I'm just gonna
I
call that out.
I think part of this, and Zach, I'll let you get to it. I'm sorry, but I think part of this too is every. I think people should have sort of like the stages of a relationship in decks with the people they play with. Like, you should have some decks that you can get into a random group of people and play with. You should have some decks that, when you've played with people enough, you can play with and not feel terrible about what you're doing to the other people, and vice versa. And then you should have the decks that you play when you are with the people you're really comfortable with, or in an environment where it is very much like, yes, we don't know each other, but we're all okay to play, just all gas, nothing but bangers, like super competitive Magic. And I think that that's lost. I think a lot of people want to build the coolest stuff and bring it and just like stomp on people in an LGS, and that just doesn't feel good. So, Zach, I'll let you go. Sorry.
yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's kind of what I was wanting to get to, is that it matters not only the environment where you're playing the deck, what defines the fun that you're wanting to have, as well as like how what the deck is, because like having a deck,
Mhm.
having fun with a bracket 2 deck is very different to me than having fun with like a bracket 4, like my Rakdos deck.
Mhm.
I think they're very two different things, and like it speaks to the versatility that this game brings and the versatility that people can have. And I think
Yep.
a lot of people just kind of suffer to have the same mindset in their deck building no matter what the deck is. I think you do
Yep.
need to kind of take a look at it as, what am I building this deck to do? How do I want to have fun, and how do I want other people to also have fun?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
what we're talking about.
Greg brings up a good point. He says, even having that conversation with I'm assuming your crew, like your local folks, are we going to be friends? Like, do we want to have a friendly game, or do we want to put that friendship? Do we want to test that friendship with how we're going to play today? I think that's an important thing. Like, I've played some of the craziest, just out there games with you, Jared, and Zach, but we've also agreed that that's what we're doing, like, even
Yeah.
though
Yep.
we're the best of friends. And there's decks like I will absolutely never play in a group that I don't know somebody in, because
Hmm.
it's not gonna be fun. And I also think there's a level of respect at the table that people should bring, where it's like, yes, it's fine to be competitive, but there's different ways to be competitive where it still allows other people to enjoy the game, and you should try to have that conversation, or at least understand, maybe generally, like, I'll put somebody on blast. I won't throw their name out, but like, maybe don't bring a Tifa deck and like knock somebody out on turn 3. Like, that's not fun for anybody, because now that person has to sit there and just watch the game happen for the next 40 minutes or more.
Hmm.
Well, that's a perfect segue to my next thing, which is sort of an anti thing. It's a thing that you shouldn't do to make the table more fun. But I will say, just on the last point, I think one of the greatest things that's happened for Magic um, is related to Commander, and it is the dialogue that you have before you play a Commander game. I think that addition, that thing was not part of the paradigm for a long time, but that
Mhm.
addition has brought a different social aspect to the game that I think is part of why more people are coming to the game. So I think
Yeah.
all of that. I think the attempt at brackets, it's not perfect yet, but having some sort of
Mhm.
common language that you could talk about power level and having that honest conversation, that's where friendships are formed, to be honest. So
Yeah.
love that. Just wanted to put like a little accent point on it. The next one I have is time wasting. Time wasting comes in many forms, and here's what I'll say. And Ian's got it dead to rights. Knocking somebody out in turn 3, and it's just a pod of 4 people getting together,
Yeah.
wastes a hell of a lot of that person's time. I know there have been weeks
Mhm.
that I have looked forward to 2 things in my week, and I work a lot. I work overtime. I work hard. I'm a dad. I got kids. I got all kinds of things. But 2 things I look forward to are the first and second Commander game on a Friday Night Magic. Some
Mhm.
weeks that's what it is. And so if I feel like my time is being wasted in one of my 2 only opportunities to do the thing I love to do, that really stinks. Like, that doesn't feel good.
Yep.
I will tell you again, not naming any names. There was a game where somebody was playing group hug and arbitrarily chose to help the biggest threat on the board and basically said, I want to get second place. And so my entire objective of this game now is to help the big threat on the board win. And it
Yep.
just felt incongruent with the spirit of the game. And it felt
Mhm.
like my time was being epically wasted. And
Hmm.
so that
Yeah.
was probably for the jolly, sort of jovial Jared that exists 99% of the time. That was probably as close to my blood boiling as possible when it comes to a game. Um,
Yep.
and so that's like time wasting, one side of it. The other side is, if you're preventing people from taking actions in the game and you sort of are holding them hostage to the table, they haven't lost, they're not going to win, and they can't really
Yep.
do anything. That feels really yucky too.
Yeah.
um, and so it's less about taking a solitaire turn where you take a turn and do a million things. Like, sometimes that's not so hot, but it's
Mhm.
more about like my time. Am I able to spend my time doing my thing?
Hmm.
Yep.
That's something Ian and I have talked about in the past, is like people who like, quote unquote play with their food.
Mhm.
Yes, I was gonna say don't play with your food. If you're gonna win, just win. Like be done with it. I've called people out at tables about that and said like stop playing with your food, dude. Like just finish the game. Let's move on to the next game. Like,
Hmm.
do you have it or not? And especially, oh my gosh, when people like let a bunch of stuff go off the stack and trigger and be responded to and this and that and that, and then they play like end the turn. It's like, really? You couldn't have waited? You had to wait that whole time to just do that one thing? Like, and it's kind of that concept of just being generally respectful. Respect looks different in Magic, I think, is another thing too. Um,
Yep.
no, it could be that you just swing the game out and you just end it early so then we can get another game in. But it also could be that you just don't do that thing one time because you already probably have it and that person really wants to resolve their, one spell they managed to get out because they were mana screwed the first quarter of the game and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I played
Hold
with
me
somebody
hostage with a standstill. Funny you say that, Clark. We were just talking about standstill. But yes, standstill is a fun card, but you don't just play with everybody.
Yeah. Well, and I don't mind it either. It actually ties into one of my other things. But Ian, it's your go. So we'll touch on that in a minute.
Yep. So one thing that I think makes games really fun is taking a moment to kind of ask the person that you're like ask the people that you're playing with to just like explain why they like the game. I know this sounds silly, but like why do they love the game? Why do they love the deck they're playing with? I like to get an idea of what people are excited about. Or like and even if I know what the card is, I really like to get interested in what people are doing because I think that there's this aspect of people spend, if you're like me and I know many of us are probably similar, like you spend hours and hours of reading and researching and figuring out, watching videos and figuring out what you're going to do with your deck. And then you finally sit down and you play it and, you cast, I'm going to just say like you cast Ristic Study, right? Everyone's had a Ristic Study hit the board, but I think it's important to show those plays where people are like, this might be the most expensive card they own. Like, show them that respect and say, like, hey, dude, awesome. Like, that's my favorite Ristic Study art. Or, man, I can't believe that was a common. Like, did you get that when Prophecy was around? Like, I think there's this aspect of um relationship building with the game, and again, it kind of comes back to respect, but like I really love commenting and making a point to call out cards that we've all seen played. We've all had Smothering Tithe hit the battlefield and be like, oh god, Smothering Tithe, I gotta deal with that. But if it's the first time I'm playing with someone and the first time that they're resolving that, I'm probably gonna be like, oh dude, heck yeah, good for you. Don't forget your triggers also. Like it's important, I think, to keep that the dialogue open and just compliment people, give them, like give them kudos for the things that they're playing and ask them why they enjoy playing that card. If you've never seen it played or if you've never played a commander, I usually ask like, dude, what do you got? What's going on? Like, what is this deck about? And I think that just helps, again, just strengthen the ability to play a strong game of Magic.
I
Yeah,
also just say real quick, sorry, Jared, but like I think that question of what excites you about like this deck, what do you like about this deck? That might probably be the best way to start up the Rule Zero conversation
Mhm.
because the
Yep.
things that the deck is trying to do, that's probably what the person likes about it. Like asking, like, oh, what bracket is your deck at? What power level? Putting a number and an arbitrary tag on something is very difficult to do. As
Yep.
humans, we have a very hard, way of like judging something, I think, accurately. So asking more of like uh, an open-ended question of what do you like about this deck, I
Yep.
think leads that conversation to start a little bit easier. I don't know, just a
Yeah.
thought that I had.
I just like the way that I think like I think about like when Jared did his deck tech on Brennard, right? Like you got so excited about saying, I'm gonna bring all this stuff back, and like it's all gonna be ETB trigger galore and ETB trigger happy golems, and there's a little bit of golem, side quests there, but most of it is like, how can I keep playing? And you just got so into it and explaining it, and the way that you explain that, like that really gave me a better idea of what I would be up against if I was playing that deck versus,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bracket 3 and I have 3 game changers and it's these cards. Like that's too transactional for me. Like I want to hear like, why did you spend all of your time building this deck?
Yep.
Like what got you excited about Brenner? And I thought it was funny because Jared actually put up on, was it Reddit? You posted your Brenner deck,
Yeah.
and like all these people like tore it apart because they were looking at it, I think, as a golem deck. I can't
Yeah. They
remember.
thought it was a tribal deck.
Yeah, but the whole time you're like texting us all the little comments people are saying, you're like, they're like missing the plot here. But I think that's part of it, right? Like if you sat down with 3 people from that Reddit thread and you explained them the deck and then you sat down and played it with them, like that's a much different experience than just posting a deck list. Because there's just things it's hard sometimes to read between the lines on what people are trying to do if you just read a list.
Yeah, and it's sort of like seeing sheet music versus hearing it being played to some extent, I would say.
Oh,
Right?
dude, 100%.
You if you know how to read music and somebody asks you like, "Hey, take a look at this song I wrote," and they're sort of humming it in their mind and they're like, I kind of would rather go here and then down and this and the other." But yeah, the magic of the game is being able to show the fruits of your labor and
Mhm.
being able to acknowledge that as another player at the table is awesome. I love that.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Rule here. I love Real Goose saying, how much did you spend on your deck? That doesn't mean anything. I mean,
um,
it can, but usually if the reason you're playing the deck is because you care about the price of the deck, that may not be the person that I'm playing a game of Magic with.
That's right. That's right. What's your total cost before we start playing? Because that's going to give you a sense of what you're up to.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
oh man. All right. My next one, it kind of touches on what we did, but I'll try to riff it and shed a new light, and maybe we don't stay long on it. Um, Games that feel like a puzzle all of a sudden is sort of another trope that I really enjoy. Like, there's a thing on the table that we need to kill, but in order to kill it, we have to get rid of X, Y, and Z. It's almost like a few walls come up, and the
Hmm.
whole table, except for the person who played the thing, is sort of on a side quest together to get back to
Hmm.
the regular game. Then you get back to the real game. So in order to do that, they have to solve this little puzzle.
Hmm.
Um, that feels great.
Hmm.
Um, and there's caveats there too. Like obviously, if it's like a stacks deck and the puzzle is like trying to figure out how you can actually play the game at all again at all, that doesn't feel great. But like a little nuance, like a little bit of a like, oh, everybody's on notice now to figure this thing out, to navigate through this. It's a tweak to the game. It's like somebody
Hmm.
uploaded a patch to the game, and it's like, oh, there's this fresh take that I have to reconcile.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, so one of my items is kind of in the same vein as this, which is, I do enjoy um the constant game of threat assessment, um, and figuring out if I was right or not, which you eventually, you figure that out. And I'll say, like, threat assessment is something that takes a lot of practice, I think, over time to get good at. But um, there are still times, excuse me, where I'm wrong, like totally wrong, and I try to learn something from those moments. But I think we're kind of scratching at the same thing here, where it's like there's a puzzle, is based on what I've seen this person do, like, are they gonna pop off? Are they gonna kind of stay the same? Should I take out that enchantment? Should I take out their seedborn muse? Like, there's all these questions you might ask yourself, and you could still be wrong because they could just have nothing. in their hand, but have an intimidating board state, but have nothing to really do with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And I think the next one I have, again, now we're piggybacking and sort of finding consensus, but the natural politics of the game as opposed to unnatural politics of the game.
Oh, yeah.
So the
Yeah.
natural politics of the game is somebody becomes the outlier at the table, they become the arch nemesis, and so
Yep.
the rest of the gang bands together to solve that problem. And there are games where you can reach parity again and everybody's back to sort of free for all. But there is this obvious threat assessment moment where it's like, if we don't band together and take care of this,
Yep.
we're kind of screwed. But the
Yep.
antithesis of it, just like superficial
Oh,
alliances that are
Zach
just
and I
not
were
based on
Zach
things.
and I were just talking about this yesterday. Was yesterday, the day before? It's like the whole like, hey, I won't attack you if you don't attack me for one more turn. Like that kind of stuff irks me because I'm like, you clearly just want to cast whatever you have in your hand to like do something big. So like that always feels really kind of ugh to me. But natural politics, I agree. And actually, I made this joke I think a couple times with the two of you and with others as well. But I'm actually pretty proud when I'm the first person to be taken out when I am last place, primarily because I was the person that needed to go. That means my deck played well. That means I was playing smart. That means that I was seen as a threat. And it also teaches me in that moment, is there something I could have done differently, or maybe something I could change in the deck that would put me in a better spot the next time I get to that place again? Um, and like there's decks that we all play where it's like, I know what that's going to do. I know we need to take Ian out because if it goes off, it's going to be terrible. But there's also times where, I maybe even surprise myself, and all of a sudden people are like, "Holy crap! Like, we got to deal with that guy over there." And that I think that I enjoy that actually, because that means I played a good game. Whether obviously I lost first, but that's okay.
It happens. It happens. And when it happens for the right reason, it feels fine. It feels
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. Like when we played on our recording with Ash, I was the first one to go. But, I would have gotten my 10th gate the next turn. So
Yep.
it was absolutely the right move for the table to take me out.
Are you
Zach.
talking about the same game that started with a pre-game Furby alliance?
Yeah, there
That's
was a
right.
pregame
Right.
Furby Alliance. I
But
think that was
that was just a joke. Like, we didn't take any game
I
action
I know.
that sort
you
of.
did you didn't. That's true. That
Yeah.
there are
Hey,
kind of those funny superficial
I was
politics,
I
but
was
it's
hit by the thief first. Is all I'm saying.
yeah. But if I think it might be because I complimented the card. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky. The Thief of Sanity smiled upon me that turn. But I do think funny alliances are fun. Primarily because they never mean anything. Like, I'm not gonna not attack Jared because we both have a beard at that time. Like, we can make that joke, but I'm probably still
Yeah.
gonna keep an eye on you if you got the board
Yeah.
to back it up.
Non-ethical game actions are just the worst. The
Yeah.
worst.
Yep.
Um, well, that about rounds us out. Ian, I don't know if you want to take a look at the chat. There's a lot of great contributions there.
Mhm.
Let me see. What do we got here?
Yeah,
There's
I
some
think
farewell hate. Go ahead.
listen, let me just tell everybody, if you resolve a farewell in a safe space, it does feel really good. It does reset the game, or it can, but I did cast farewell on our last game night, and it did reset the game, but it was a turn away. Literally, the person going after me would have won the game had I not cast it, and we were only like 15 minutes maybe into that game. So it actually did end up shifting the game in a really interesting way where I didn't win, but someone else really came back from kind of not having a great early game and took it somewhat unexpectedly too. That was actually a really good game.
Yep.
Clark was in that game. So
Absolutely.
yeah, farewell's cool, but it does suck when you're on the receiving end of it. I get it.
I will never repeat those words.
I do have farewell.
If farewell has one hater, then I'm the only person left alive.
Listen, Clark's got my back. I played a classy farewell. I chose all the modes. I exiled everybody's things, and I just said, "Let's start over." And I actually told the guy. I think it was yeah, it was, yes, it was him. I told him, like, you won because we had to take you out. We had to like reset the board right now, so to know that you did kind of win in a way. But you're gonna have to earn it again.
Yep.
And
I
then
will
he
clarify,
did-
I think like cards like that still have places, just
They
not
do.
places that I'm at.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, great topic. I think consensus wise, it seems like we're talking about respect to some degree, and also like noticing, like acknowledging the depth by which people enjoy this game, and like, go after certain card art, go after certain card interactions, look
Mhm.
deeper than the surface level. Like, it really is about like noticing things, acknowledging things, and thinking about everybody's time. I think is maybe the other universal truth.
Yep. I would agree.
I love it.
It's
Well,
good.
I would love to move to our next topic, but I want to just troubleshoot on the fly here because I know that I'm blurry as all get out. And the next topic involves me and a camera. And so, Zach, I'm wondering if we could do I could turn off my face camera and we could just do my opening product camera and just see if that looks good. Otherwise, I could kind of take a step away from the stream, do a quick reset, and see if I can get us to a better place. And maybe
I mean,
Ian, you start.
Tech talk here. While you do look a little bit blurry on the face cam, the phone camera actually looks pretty good. So
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if it helps to turn off the camera on either of them. Like, I could turn off this one. I mean, we don't have to troubleshoot a ton, but if you think the phone camera looks good, then we can keep rolling through.
let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Is it mail time?
It's mail time. The mail room. It's been
It's a mail
weeks,
time.
y'all. It's been weeks since we've done the mail, and that means that there's just so much mail to look at and go through. I'm working on a deck. I kind of forgot already what I ordered, so a lot of surprises in here. I'm gonna fan these out. So many envelopes of cards. So
That's
many envelopes.
that's a
Um,
good inbox.
That's right. That's right. So, that being said, let's crack into some of this stuff, and we've got some special treats ahead. So the first one is a box, and I will tell you where this is from. This is from Frazetta Girls, which is Frank Frazetta's website. And I kind of wonder by the title of it if maybe his daughters run the website or run his empire. But this is for those who are fans of his artwork, and also like a little insider track. He's got his secret layers for what they cost on the secret layer website. I don't know still now, but as of like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, you could go on and get like an art exhibition, Frank Frazetta secret layer for $30.
Wow.
And that's exactly what I did.
It is Frank's daughter Holly and granddaughter Sarah who started the Frazetta Girls thing to sort of preserve his memory.
I love that. That's amazing to me. Like, that I'm all for. I love a legacy. I love a family-owned business, and I love like when the kids can carry on the legacy of their parent.
Yeah.
So
Also-
interestingly enough, this
Sorry,
did not come in secret layer packaging. I'm just going to show that. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. I am checking the site just because you brought it up, and it does look like I don't think they have the secret layer packs, but they do have signed by Frank secret layers that came out originally. They're $180 a card, but still, if you're looking for some signed Frazetta Magic cards, they do have them on that site.
Yep. So, all right. So this is the secret layer. And again, it didn't come in the packaging. Probably doesn't have a bonus card, but let's take a look real quick. This is my favorite art of Deadly Dispute. I love it. Can't wait to put it in my deck. Murderous Rider.
Great.
Zulaport Cutthroat, another favorite of mine. Another piece of
my
art
favorite
I
Zulaport,
absolutely adore.
Classic.
I adore this art. A Desperate Ritual and an Aggravated Assault. So for $30
Those
for
are
all
great.
these cards, can't knock it. That was a great
Nope.
purchase. So thanks for Zeta Girls not scalping prices, like pricing things fairly. I think is such a huge deal.
Yep, I would agree.
The next one comes to us from Yankton, South Dakota. So we'll go ahead and open this one up. Again, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I'm ready to show this off. Yeah, we can show it off. This is the commander for the deck I'm building. And we could deck it at some point. There's a very fun theme that I'll be sharing on stream at some point. I won't spoil that surprise, but this is, let me get it out of here. They did a very good job packaging this card. So it's in one of these weird, it's not quite a top loader, but it's protective. So I'll give them credit. The next commander Jared is building is, a Traxa Grand Unifier. This is the pricey Atraxa. It costs 7. I don't currently have a very pricey, expensive commander. So this would be my first go at it. I don't expect to resolve it multiple times, but we'll see. This one, I'm trying to, man, the glare on this thing's crazy. Let me take it out of here.
There we go. That looks good. No, that looks good where you had it.
Oh, well, apologies. How's that?
No, bad. Move it down.
There we go.
Move it southwest.
Bad.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, cool. So I did buy the promo version. So it is stamped. It's 3, a green, a white, a blue, and a black. So it's 4 colors, which is another niche that I wanted to tap into. 7/7, Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. And when it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So this commander deck will have a game plan. It'll have some win cons built in that are a little unusual. I'm very excited to make it. And so I've got a whole fat stack of envelopes that have cards for this deck. And so I'm going to monitor the time here. We probably won't go through it all, but this package is really interesting to me, and I'm very interested in seeing what's in here. It's very shiny.
That's really shiny.
Before we move on to that one, did you say or did you want to say the theme over what that deck was, or leaving it?
I don't
Okay,
yet.
just making sure.
Yeah. All right, so this one comes to us from, it's direct from a store. I'll give them credit here. This is Cape Fear Games in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay.
And let me just see. I just want to verify real quick because I think this is a card that really deserves to go straight into a sleeve.
I mean, if the packaging indicates anything, that is probably somewhat pricey.
I think it probably is very pricey. I would expect it to be real serious. So I already see in here, I'm not showing on camera because I don't want to open it yet. There's potentially a story here to share. They included a token, which I love.
Real quick, I do want to just shout out, we got Josh Martin saying, yo, hey, what's up?
Hey, Josh.
And we also, I think her ears were burning. Ash joined us. She probably heard us talking about her womping us with that game that we played with her.
Well, we mentioned Furbies.
We did. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, she heard Furbies and was like, "Oh, I got to get on the stream."
I love it. All right, so I did look, and it is this card. By the way, cool that they gave us a token. I really like that way of
Yeah.
advertising. And so on the back of the token, they've got a coupon in here. Oh, it looks
Oh,
like
that's cool.
it's direct 25. I got real excited about potentially 25% off, but it's orders over 25, you get 5% off. All right, well, that's still something. I'm in. All right, so story time, folks. My love language is gifting. And I don't know if you're familiar with the love languages. My wife's is acts of service. Mine is gift giving. And so how I show love is by gift giving. And, you know, because of this, I'm always on the lookout for things. And I'll think about the people that are meaningful in my life. And if I see something, I snatch it up and look for the opportunity to just show that love. And so I was perusing the internet like I do several weeks ago now, and I found something really, really cool. And I decided to snatch it up. And, you know, I'll just say, like, without going into the gory details, my buddy Ian over here has impacted my life in a way that I can't even really begin to start explaining. He's become one of the most important people in my life. Zach too, and the community. Really, he's been the catalyst for me being a part of this community and doing some big stuff that has been meaningful to me and brought happiness to me in my life and my world. And so I bought him a little gift.
Oh boy.
But here's the funniest part about all of this. Last week after the stream, we were talking about this Watcher in the Water deck tech, and Ian was talking about how he runs the foil regular version of Watcher in the Water, and how he thinks the poster version of that card isn't very cool. And I let him go for a while, knowing that I bought this for him because I thought it was really funny. But you know, this was something I couldn't pass up getting for Ian, which is a foil copy of the poster
Oh,
Watcher in
dude.
the Water, which just came in yesterday. So right by Saved by the Bell. And so I got it for you, buddy. You know, all the love to you. I thought, you know, you love that deck. Why not have an alternate commander that is the
I'm not
expression of how
crying.
much we care about you? You know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
crying. You're crying. So this actually illuminates an interesting fact about me with my commander decks, which is that if I have a commander deck that has multiple versions of the commander, I will run multiple versions of the commander and I will swap them out when I have to pay different commander tax. So like I have 4 different copies of like Kozilek in my Kozilek deck, and so every time he definitely gets removed, I swap it out for the next one, and it always needs to be a different art, or at least a foil or not foil. So, oh man, I don't know what to say. Thank you, thank you so much. And it's funny because I've been staring at that version of the card for 2 days now, trying to fix a bug in the website. And it's actually kind of grown on me quite a bit because it's been a really big piece of art in my face all day. um, so, oh man, that means so much. Thank you. It'll be definitely the commander I run
I love it.
for
Well,
that reason.
this is here for the next time I see you, buddy. I put it
Oh,
in I got these special like hollow foil sleeves that are going to go in the Dan deck, and I thought it would look really cool
okay.
with that treatment. So got it
All right.
here for you, man. Just some love and gratitude from a gift giving dude
Oh,
who appreciates
man. Yeah, let's keep going. I have to. I'm expressing emotions.
What's happening over there, Ian?
Just my heart is very full right now. That means an awful lot. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we definitely need to get to the deck tech. So let's rush through these other openings here. I'm gonna blaze through anything that's not a rare, and we will oh my goodness. This order was packaged by Andrew Andrew at Wasteland Gaming. Give them a quick credit here. This is Duluth, Georgia. Wasteland Gaming. All right.
Cool.
Oh my God, this is like, what is happening here? We've talked about packaging every time I do these deck techs.
Is
This
that one
is
of
like-
those? Is
this
that one
is
of those
so-
like they cut the trade binder pages?
I don't know, but I love that it was
No.
packaged by Andrew. That's like the
That is a
best
nice touch. I do like
little
that.
touch there. Good old Andy. All right. We get this one. Holy moly. So many things here.
Andrew did a good job at
He
packaging
really.
those cards.
So much plastic. All right. Let's see. All right.
If you like Andrew's packaging, like, comment, and subscribe for more.
There you go. Teferi's Time Twist, Touch of the Spirit Realm, Flicker of Fate. Here's a rare. Zinder Split's Judgment. For each player, choose friend or foe. Each friend creates a token that's a copy of a creature they control. Each foe returns a creature they control to its owner's hand. This is a very flavorful, on-theme, lore-wise deck piece. So I'm going to stop there. Rampant Growth, Myriad Landscape, Seaside Citadel, Arcane Signet. Replication Technique is our next rare.
It's cool.
It's a sorcery for 5. It's got Demonstrate, which is when you cast a spell, you can copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for their copies. So there's sort of this allyship theme here. Create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control. And then, this is sort of a giveaway. Triumphant Adventurer. This is another rare. As long as it's your turn, it's got first strike. It's a 1/1 death touch. And whenever it attacks, venture into the dungeon. So there's that stack.
I love the techniques are really cool. I do like the technique cards. That's from the Strixhaven precons.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
This is another weird packaging. This is a person, so I won't say who they are, but it's coming from Roswell, New Mexico. How about that?
Oh, cool.
Oh, and they've got a similar packing style here. They've got the multiple layers of plastic and things. All right. There's a stack of oh my God, more plastic. The plastic.
Oh boy, they really went overboard there.
Just oh my God. Oh, I like this too. The cards are not in the
it's just
deck.
it's just like reinforce
just
it.
Using it as a reinforcement. Okay. Lajara Mirror Lake, Scepter of Celebration. That's a rare. Equipped creature has +2/+0 and has trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Very fun. Dawn's Reflection, a very cool Edge of Autumn. Detention Sphere, which most people are aware of what this one does. It's a enchantment that exiles something until it leaves. Voyager Staff, Crows and Verge, Path of Ancestry, Harrow, Roiling Regrowth, Arcane Sanctum, and Opulent Palace. Boys, I've got...
Interesting pick with Detention Sphere, because I'm guessing that might be a theme choice. But Detention Sphere specifically is it exiles a creature and all creatures that share the same name as it until it leaves the battlefield. It's actually in Commander, it's really good for getting rid of like a token army.
Yep.
Because it'll just get rid of all the tokens, and when they go into exile, even if this Detention Sphere leaves, they don't come back because they're tokens.
Yep. That was sort of the premise there. But it is flavorful too. This one's coming from Iowa. We've got Brago, King Eternal. That's a rare.
That's a good one.
2 white, blue, flying 2/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile any number of target non-land permanents you control, and then return those cards to the battlefield under their control.
It's almost like you want to bring Atraxa back over and over again.
It could be. Speaking of which, Cloud Shift. Speaking of which, Undying Evil. And then Dune Blast is the other one. Choose up to 1 creature.
I love Dune Blast.
The rest.
I love Dune Blast. I love the art on it. I love the flavor. I love the choose 1 creature, destroy everything else. kind of board wipes. Those are always super fun.
Yep, this is again a very strong flavor and lore choice. So we'll
Okay.
just leave it at that. All right. Let's do one more since I'm already opening it, but it looks like quality's gone downhill a little bit again. I'll probably try to maybe go to one camera here in a second. So I apologize, y'all. All right, one more, and I'll get my best reading voice on. All right, this one comes from Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't know why I like giving credit to the cities. I just think it's cool that this hobby is just everywhere. It's everywhere. You never know where you get stuff from. Okay, they did an interesting packing job. We got stuff in sleeves, stuff not in sleeves. I'm assuming the sleeve stuff is rares. Lae'zel's Acrobatics is a rare. Exile all non-token
cool
creatures
card.
you control, and then you roll a d20. On a 1 through 9, you return them to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of next step. And 10 through 20, you basically return them to the battlefield and then do it again. So it's like a double blink. Exotic Orchard, Cultivate, but I got like a very pretty cool version. Cast Out, Evolving Wilds, Blighted Woodland, and Ash Barrens. All right, to be continued. I've got several more envelopes of cards, but I will bring it to the deck tech. So I'm not going to reveal all the cards yet, but hopefully that was fun. And hopefully, I don't know what Ian's feeling like. Are you still, processing a little bit from that last bit?
Oh yeah, it just I wasn't expecting that, man. So that was just a really nice surprise. I can't wait to play it now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to actually do a quick word to our sponsor before we jump into the deck tech, because it's about that time.
Love it.
So we're going to do a quick shout out to our first sponsor for the stream, um, for Constant Lists as a whole. And that's going to be for Big Deck Energy Games out in Cathedral City, California. So, Cathedral City is in the heart of Coachella Valley. If you're not familiar with it, it's near Joshua Tree National Park, which is incredibly beautiful. Also, it is where the infamous or famous Coachella Music Festival resides as well in Palm Springs. If you're ever out in California, trying to catch some golf, get away from the cold, see a music festival, hit up Big Deck Energy Games. They're just an incredible group of guys and gals that we met kind of by happenstance that share a really similar philosophy that stands in sharp contrast to the bigger kind of fat cat retail entities, is what we've called them, that can sometimes forget that local game stores are supposed to be about people first. Dang it. They believe in growing local playgroups, creating welcoming environments for new and veteran players alike, keeping prices fair and accessible for all the games that they offer, and supporting the culture of tabletop, not just the transaction. If you are in the area, obviously give them a shout. Stop in, say you caught them on our stream. If not, check out their website, bigdeckenergygames.com. We're super proud to have them as our first official sponsor, and even more excited to be partnered with a store that shares the same philosophy that we do, which is build the community and the rest will follow from there. Thanks again, Big Deck Energy Games, and we're going to jump into Deck Tech. Okay, so without further ado, we'll jump right in to Deck Tech. And I think Zach's going to be driving Constant Lists tonight for me. I sent him the deck list ahead of time. And then here we're going to start placing our cards in the categories that I've broken them up into. We're going to start first with our commander. So this deck is mono blue. It is the Watcher in the Water, which is a mythic from Lord of the Rings. Um, I'll get into a card later on that I really wanted to build around forever, and then this card came out. and it was like meant to be. So Watcher in the Water is a 5-drop. So he or she or they is a 3 and 2 blue drop legendary creature, and it is a Kraken. It's a 9/9. And when Watcher on the Water enters the battlefield, it enters tapped with 9 stun counters on it. So it enters tapped, and it's got a number 9 on it. And a stun counter is every time it tries to untap, you instead remove a stun counter until you have none, and then it can untap. Whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, you create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. On your opponent's turn is when you have to draw. So that's a pretty important theme in the deck. And then whenever a tentacle you control dies, you untap up to 1 target Kraken, and you put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. So this deck cares about a few things. It doesn't actually care if Watcher untaps or not. I can count on probably one hand the number of times I've actually untapped Watcher in the Water, and probably less times that I've actually attacked with Watcher in the Water. So Watcher in the Water is not necessarily, and I would say is not the win condition here, but it does build a fun engine to play around. So really what you care about is drawing cards on your opponent's turns to make tentacles upon tentacles. And then you also care about sacrificing or removing tentacles in one way, shape, or form to have them die. And when they die, you get to untap a Kraken, which is cool. But more importantly, you can start putting stun counters on things. So it is a control-y deck if you let it go long enough, but it also does do some other things as well. So again, Watcher is not how we're winning, and I will get to how we're winning later. But we'll start kind of first with how do we draw on our opponent's turns. So the first card we're going to start with is we're going to kind of go in an order here. We're going to ramp up a little bit. So the first one is Behold the Multiverse. This is it's a 4-drop instant, but it does have Foretell for 1 and a blue. And I love Foretell as a mechanic. I was a big Kaldheim fan when it came out. So the ability to foretell is actually not nothing, because you can put this out early and then just have it ready to go, kind of preloaded if you need to uh, scry 2 and draw 2. So you can scry 2 and then draw 2 cards. That gets you 2 tentacles. It also does give you some information on what's on the top of your deck if you're searching for things, which there are a couple of things you maybe want to be searching for depending on the state of the game. So this is a great card. It's a common. It's just really handy. The next one is an oldie but a goodie, and it is actually, I have made a lot of tentacles with this card, but it is Tolarian Winds. Tolarian Winds is originally printed in Urza's Saga. It is a 1 and 1 blue drop, so a 2-drop instant. And what it says is you discard your hand and then you draw that many cards. With other cards in this deck, I have had hands that would be in like the 20s to 30s. So playing this it's a really good way to make a ton of tentacles. And at instant speed, no less. The next one is actually a card I just recently found, and I thought it was really, really cool. So I picked up a copy at Card Traders. Thank you, Card Traders of Austin. And I put it in my deck. And it is a card from Alliances, and it is a little unsung hero called Latnam's Legacy. And Latnam's Legacy is a 2-drop. And what it does is you choose a card from your hand and you shuffle that card into your library to draw 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So this is kind of one of those old mechanics that existed in Magic for a long time, which was this like you draw a card, but not till the next upkeep. But in a commander game, you could play this at any point and draw 2 at the beginning of your opponent's upkeep, and that would get you 2 tentacles. And it's only for 2. And if you have something in your hand that you're just like, you don't care about, you don't need a land, it's late game, whatever. It's kind of an easy win.
That
I
is
love that.
so cool.
That's awesome, dude.
It's a weird card. And it's one of those cool alliances cards that I think has two different art styles. And this is the one that I preferred, but I think there's another one too. That's pretty cool. I actually chose to not keep these in their own category, but I do have counter spells in this deck. But I actually chose to kind of try to categorize the counter spells in regards to what I'm doing with them primarily. So the first one is just Arcane Denial. This is also the Alliances version, and I believe it is version A because there's also two different art prints of this card. Arcane Denial, if you're not familiar with it, it's a 2-drop counter spell. It's counter target spell. That spell's caster may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So kind of a little bit of a, takes the edge off a little bit. But then I also get to draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So again, decent chance that I will be playing this and there will be a turn with an opponent that I can draw and make a tentacle.
Question for you, Ian.
Yep.
Have you ever used that to counter your own spell to draw 3?
Oh, good question.
I have not. And I have actually thought of that, but I have never done that. That would be a move for sure. Maybe I'll do that against you purposely.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There we go. I like it.
Yeah. Actually, that would be fun. Like counter my own spell I'm casting on your turn anyways to then draw 3, basically. Potentially 3.
It's a bit of a Tybalt's trickery moment, right? Like countering your own spell.
Yeah, you're doing, it seems like you're doing yourself a disservice, but you're not.
Yep.
And this next one actually is kind of in the same vein, Zach. So it's kind of funny you brought that up. But this is another card similar to Arcane Denial. I call it's like Diet Arcane Denial, but it's Dream Fracture. Dream Fracture is a 3-drop, so it's 2 blue and 1. And it says you counter target spell, and then its controller draws a card, and then you draw a card. So you could also use this a similar way to potentially draw 2 for yourself as well. The next one is kind of going into some options, so giving me some options while I'm playing. And this one, if you don't own one of these, I would pick one up. They're not super expensive, but they have gone up over time. But Archmage's Charm, it's just incredible. This card is just so freaking good. It's 3 blue to cast, and it's a modal, so you get to choose one. You can counter target spell. Target player can draw 2 cards, or you can gain control of target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less. I have stolen soul rings with this. 100%.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if there's a soul ring on the board, how frequently is that an automatic mode 3, or is it insignificant at times and you just want to draw 2?
It depends on where I am. So if I have like somebody that's really hot and heavy with attacking, I might want to draw 2 and get 2 tentacles just up for blockers. There's a chance I might want to hold this up for countering something if someone were to try to counter the thing I want to do. But I definitely have gone in and said, you know what, like I got 2-3 counter spells in my hand. I'll just use this and take your soul ring, or use this and take, I don't know, your boots. I have taken boots with this too, which is fun. And then put it on my watcher, which is also great.
Yeah, this card to me seems like the best version of a Swiss Army knife in the deck. I'm sure you have other things like it, but the 3 modes are really good. Am I wrong I might be remembering this incorrectly. Didn't we get a Gale version of this in the Baldur's Gate Secret Lair? Or am I correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
We did.
We did. I lied.
We did.
That's how little I cared about that Secret Lair. But yeah, it's good. It's a great card. It is really, and if you're playing blue at all, and you care about any of those three things, it's a great card. It's a really good card.
Tough to
I
get
just
that
like
casting
those.
cost up, though. But yeah,
Go
My
ahead,
bad.
Zach.
I just really like the charm cards.
Yep.
Archmage's
Same.
Charm, Archdruid's Charm, and I really like Arch Enemy's Charm.
Mhm.
I've got that in the
Yep.
new deck I brewed recently, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, from Edge. That's a good one.
Yep.
Yep. All right, so moving on to kind of the bigger sibling of Archmage's Charm, we have Cryptic Command. I'm sure we all know about that one. Cryptic Command is 3 blue and 1 for choose 2. You can counter a spell. You can return target permanent to its owner's hand. You can tap all creatures your opponents control, or you can draw a card. I have won the game with this card by tapping all creatures and swinging in with tentacles.
that's
100%.
that's amazing.
Yes. I typically will use this to at least draw a card. And depending again on the state of the game, I tend to tap all of your creatures, primarily because I'm going to start putting stun counters on them. And that is actually really relevant later. And then the next one is the biggest sibling of them all, and that is my favorite card, maybe of all time. It's up there, Sublime Epiphany.
Sublime Epiphany. I knew it. I love this card so
Dude,
much.
Sublime Epiphany is so good. If you've never played this card and had it resolved, just do it. It feels really good. It's choose one or more. You can choose all of them. That's what's great about it. You can counter target spell. You can counter target activated or triggered ability. You can return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. You can create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. And you can, target player draws a card. I have done all of these things and had them target a bunch of stuff on the board, and it's just really, really good. And it's a 6 drop, so it's not nothing. But it also, when you do use it, it just feels so nice to make it happen. And there's some cards in here that it is incredibly great to use on, which I will cover momentarily. Also, again, I can draw a card, make a tentacle. The next one is a crazy value card for what it does, which is Brainstorm. Brainstorm's an oldie but a goodie. And what Brainstorm lets you do is draw 3, and then you put 2 cards from your hand back on top of your library. This gets me 3 tentacles for 1 mana. It's crazy good in this deck. And it also, it's kind of like Scry-ish sort of mechanics.
It's like it's
Um,
Scry before Scry, but with a different
yeah,
side too.
yeah, it's Scry before Scry.
Yep.
But it's great. And there's never a time I have this where I don't feel like it benefits me in a pretty substantial way. The next one is a new card, which I couldn't believe was printed, and I played it. And actually, I got to give some credit to Clark on this one. Clark said, "Dude, don't pay anything and just play it and see what happens." And I did, and it freaking rocked my socks, which is Wan Shi Tong, Librarian. This card is so dumb. Like, it is so good in any game of Commander. So Wan Shi Tong, and when Clark said pay 0, I played it on turn 2 for 2. So it came in as a 1/1, but it has Flash, Flying, and Vigilance. When it enters, you put X/1/1 counters on Wan Shi Tong, and then you draw half X cards rounded down, which is cool. But the real kicker here is whenever an opponent searches their library, you put a 1/1 counter on Wan Shi Tong and you draw a card.
Only
Dude,
happens
that
all the time.
it only happens
always.
all the time. The amount of times, I think by the time I played it, because I played it in response to someone cracking an Evolving Wilds, I think. So I immediately drew one. By the time it got back to my turn, I think Wan Shi Tong was a 4/4. So it triggered 3 times between me playing it on the next player's turn and when it got back to me.
I love that.
It's incredible.
I love a card like this. I mean, we just did a version of this with Meat Hook Massacre 2, where you've
Yep.
got the X, but it actually behooves you to just avoid the X altogether oftentimes.
Just play it. Just get it on the board.
Just get
Yeah,
out.
especially for 2 for a 1/1 flying vigilance. The vigilance is weirdly like it's vigilance when you don't expect to have it is really helpful. And then the other thing with this deck that it can suffer from is the tentacles. None of them have flying, right? So if someone's got flyers, it can make it a little harder from a survivability standpoint. So it's nice to just have like a couple options for flying. And he definitely blocked a couple times, which was really, really great.
Dope. So
The
dope.
next one is pretty cool. I found this. I don't even know how I found this card. I think I was just like dumpster diving through like O-tag searches or something. But it's this card, Credit Voucher. Credit Voucher is from Mercadian Masks. It's an uncommon. It's a 2-drop. And for 2 tap and sacrifice Credit Voucher, you can shuffle any number of cards from your hand into your library and then draw that many cards. This is pretty cool. I've played this with a pretty decent hand and just at instant speed threw all my cards back on my library and then drew that many cards and made that many tentacles. Kind of a weird, totally forgot that existed. Didn't even know it existed, honestly. But it's like nothing. It's like a quarter to buy this card. And it's kind of fun.
I love to, it's an artifact and you're sacking it as an instant on somebody else's turn. There's just like
Mhm.
it's like another thing that isn't quite an instant. It just adds some variability to the deck or
Yeah,
variety to the deck.
and honestly, like this is the least threatening thing that would probably be on the board, right? So
Yes,
I've
nobody's
never,
blowing that thing
no
up.
one's gonna
No
blow it
way.
up,
Nobody's
and
blowing that up.
when you get attacked, right, and then you sacrifice this and you pitch 6 cards from your hand and make 6 tentacles to block and protect yourself, it can be a really good little trick up your sleeve.
I love it.
The next one is really stupidly overpowered in this deck, and this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I've had it in since I first built this deck, and I love it so much. It's another artifact called Symmetry Matrix. Symmetry Matrix is a 4-drop, and it says whenever a creature with power equal to its toughness enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. So this combined with open mana on another player's turn, if you can just draw 1 card on another player's turn, you can effectively tap out and make infinite or as many tentacles as you can with the mana you have available and draw that many cards.
Wait, how?
Um,
Talk me through this.
because so what you do is you draw a card on your opponent's turn that creates a 1/1 tentacle.
Oh
If the
no! I
power
see
if the
it now. I
power
see it.
equals the toughness, then
Yeah,
you pay
you get to
1,
do it
you
again.
make another tentacle, and you draw a card, so that makes you another tentacle. So then you can pay another 1, and you draw a card, and then you can make another tentacle, and you can just do that until you run out of mana, basically. And
Oh,
I've
oh.
made like 8 or 9 tentacles in a turn with this, which is awesome. It
Is
feels
this
great.
the MVP of the deck or no?
No, but it's awesome, and it's from Brothers War, and Clark and I were just talking about this last weekend. Brothers War has some bangers, dude. Like, if you double check Brothers War, because I feel like there's some cards in Brothers War that are gonna just pop someday, and this is one of those cards where it's like you would glaze over this a million times until you really read it and apply it to a deck where it matters, and you can just do some really crazy stuff with it. It's
The
really
fact
cool.
that it's an uncommon too is just insane.
Yeah, and I think for the foil of this, it's maybe like $1.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Getting into some other cards, and these are all again like cards that are letting me do things on your turn, draw on your turn, right? There's some other very kind of no-brainer cards. These we've all seen these, right? But we have Mystic Remora. Mystic Remora, cumulative upkeep 1, and
Hey, that's a
whenever an opponent.
Kellogg's Loops art there. The guy who drew up the Dan deck that just dropped on Secret Lair.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, this was like the first Remora, right? That's the first, was this the first reprint of Mystic Remora? I can't remember.
I think so. Well, I don't know if it was the first, but certainly
Yeah. I just
beautiful.
remember Mystic Remora was like a nothing card until it started getting talked about on certain streams like this.
It was reprinted in Dominaria. Yeah, Dominaria.
Oh, okay.
DMR.
Yeah. Got it. Oh, that's right. That's right.
I will
Um,
say a lot of people, because of the Dan deck, which we haven't really talked much about on stream, but a lot of people are buying a playmat to go with their Dan deck. And
mhm,
Kellogg's sells that playmat on his site as well as some of the other art that's really cool.
mhm.
I was razor thin edge of buying that playmat of that art, but I ended up going with something a little funnier.
Yeah. Nice.
But it's beautiful art, just
It's pretty
gorgeous.
cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card, which actually may drawing a card kind of can be relevant at some points in the games, unless that player pays 4. Which, if you have an opening hand with Mystic Remora, you're going to get probably 1 card that round. You pay the cumulative upkeep unless you have something super meaningful. And then probably you let it die after like the second or third turn, maybe.
Yep.
But it's drawn me a lot of cards in some games. The next one shouldn't come as a surprise. This is Mystic Remora's, bigger sibling, which is just a Rhystic Study. And I opted for the Prophecy version.
Yep.
Um, which that's the OG. Who would have thought that this would have been one of the most sought after cards people would look for when Prophecy was around? I was looking for Avatar Woe, like you were, Jared.
Yep. My
Not
favorite.
not this piece of garbage.
Well,
Um,
and when I came back to the game and we were looking through my bulk, I was like, "Oh, I bet you I got a ton of these in there." And as it turns out, I had a couple of them.
nice.
By the way, it's gone up in price again. It was about $30. Man, I feel like snap your
Yeah.
fingers at $30 a second ago, and now it looks like it's sitting at 60.
Well, there's some cards that I think have probably moved that up a bit too, in some of the recent sets,
Yeah.
possibly.
Yep.
The next one is it's good. It's kind of I've almost pulled it a couple times, but it's pretty good. It's Teferi's Ageless Insight. And this is a 4-drop, and what it does, if I would draw a card except the first one that you draw in your draw step, you draw 2 cards instead. So
Mm.
this is one of those cards where, like, if I don't have anything else to play and I have 4 mana, I'll play it and then probably get some benefit out of it and then call it a day. But there's typically something better that I can play that isn't this. But it is nice to have in there. It's helped me a couple times. So those are cards that kind of benefit, like, you know drawing on opponents' turns at a base level. The next set here is similar, that I'm drawing on your turn, but I'm drawing on your turn because you're drawing, and that's super relevant. And I'm actually going to start with the thing that really makes these cards slap kind of 20 times more than they used to, which is the new Krang, the all powerful. I was super stoked on this card when it got spoiled. So Krang is from the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Commander. It says, if a player drawing a card causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And then whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on Krang, which is cool. And that includes you too, so that's cool. But he could probably get pretty big. I actually haven't gotten to play him yet, but he's in here, and he's a 5-drop, and he starts as a 3/3, which is cool. Now, where he really gets out of control is when you have a few cards in this deck on the battlefield. The first one is probably the least or the most tame, which is just going to be Fairy Mastermind. Nothing crazy. Whenever an opponent, so it's flash flying, he's a 2/1. Whenever an opponent draws their second card, you draw a card. That's it. And then you can pay 4, 3 and a blue, to just draw, or have each player draw a card. So that's cool. Um, it's good. The
But
next one,
that is a 4 mana draw 3, right? For you?
it's a 4 mana. No, no. It's a 4 mana. Everyone draws a card.
Yeah, but you're gonna draw for everyone who's drawing their second card.
Yeah. So ideally, you want to play it on another person's turn because
Yeah.
they would have usually already drawn that turn, and then they would draw that second card, and then you could profit from that.
But
So
God
you're
forbid
you're
you
right.
got a line out, you could just use it to draw 3.
And if you do that, or if you do that right, and the second card draw happens with crying out, you draw
Yep.
two.
Oh, gross.
It's great. It's great.
Yucky. Are you running
Um,
a Howling Mine? Just curious.
no, I'm not. No howling mine.
Okay. Okay.
Um, the next one is just this might be one of the MVPs of the deck, and it's Psychic Possession. This card's gotten pretty pricey too. I think I picked it up under $10. I think it's getting up to like $20 now. And probably because of stuff like Krang. But Psychic Possession allows you to enchant an opponent. I skip my draw step, so I don't have a draw step anymore. But anytime that enchanted opponent draws a card, I draw a card. So again, and I may draw a card. Somewhat relevant. You'll see why in a second. But with Krang out, I draw two
Yikes.
with that now, which is pretty cool. And then the final one of these, and when I say this does work, like I won't go super into it, but like I'm only drawing on other players' turns basically. So I'm just making tentacles. Every time you draw, I draw. And we have a fun game together that we get to draw at the same time. It's super fun.
Yep.
And then the final one, and this was actually kind of a splurge I did a while back. I'm glad I did because it's more expensive now, but I have Consecrated Sphinx in there. And this is like the really cool Mark Zug Double Masters Consecrated Sphinx.
I like that one a lot. I haven't
It's
seen
really
that.
cool. I like it because I don't like the Phyrexian. I'm not a big like Phyrexian person.
Yep.
Um, so I liked that this one was more just kind of like a Sphinx in a more traditional sense and not like the Phyrexian dude flying through the air.
Yeah, I've got the other one down there, the Secret Layer one that I really like too, but this one's very cool.
hmm Okay, so the next ones, we're going to draw a lot of cards in this deck. So we need to make sure that we can have a hand that supports that. So we get into just like hand size eliminators. And there's only two. So we have Reliquary Tower. Um, I mean, it's just a freaking staple. And then this card actually does work, which is Wizard class. Wizard class is great. It's a one drop blue class from Adventures of the Forgotten Realms, and it says you have no max hand size. You can level it up for 3, and it's just you draw 2, and you can level it up for 5. And whenever you draw a card, you put a 1/1 counter on a creature you control. I never usually level it up more than level 2. I might draw 2 cards from it, but I don't think I've ever really, maybe once or twice, dipped mana into the 1/1 counter thing.
You can only do it as a sorcery to level up, right? So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're drawing cards, which is good, but it's not the game plan it's awkward for the game plan.
yeah. It's not really relevant. The next one is just because it's a mono blue deck. I just have a Sapphire Medallion in there, just to reduce my blue spell costs by 1. It's nice. If I don't get it out, though, it's also not the end of the world. But when I do have it, it's nice to have. And again, the medallions typically are so like non-threatening that people just kind of ignore them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice.
And you got a lot of blue pips too, and people are thinking to themselves, how much does it really matter? It
Yeah,
matters. It
it,
matters.
yeah, it does. It does. The next few cards, there's a lot of spells in this deck, obviously, as we've seen, that are non-creature spells. Sorry. So the next few cards, essentially, if I need to pull something back from my graveyard, it's nice to have some options there. The first one is amazing. If you don't own a copy of this, at least one, and you play anything that cares about spells, you should get one. It's Mystic Sanctuary. Um, and what's cool about Mystic Sanctuary, and I won't spoil it, but Mystic Sanctuary counts as an island, and that is actually really relevant. But you can tap it to add blue. It enters tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands, which is going to be the case in this deck almost at all times. And when it enters untapped, you can put a instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library, which you will almost assuredly draw in the near future once it goes up top. The next card is I fell in love with this card when it was in standard. I lost to it a lot when it was in standard as well. But it's Torrential Gearhulk. I freaking love Torrential Gearhulk. If you've never played this card either, it is a really good card. It's
People are sort of off of this card now, and I love it in Noxious Gearhulk so much.
yeah,
But people
it's
are, I don't know why people are poo-pooing this card. It doesn't
probably
make
because
sense.
it's six. Probably because it's 6 mana, but Torrential Gearhulk, it's a 6 cost, it's 4 and 2 blue. It's an artifact creature construct, it has flash. And it says when it enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Okay. So let's go back a few cards real quick to Sublime Epiphany, y'all. So if you have Sublime Epiphany in your graveyard and you target it with Torrential Gearhulk, you
Gross.
can cast it, copy Torrential Gearhulk, and get another card from your graveyard and cast that card for free. You can also do all the other things on Sublime Epiphany if you want, and you can do all this on your opponent's turns. You don't have to wait, right? Because this
Yep.
guy's got
The
flash.
flash.
It's really good. It's real hot. The next one is I consider it's kind of the predecessor of Torrential Gearhulk, but I do have Snapcaster Mage in here for the same reason. And this is the fun judge promo or regional event Snapcaster Mage. And this was also a card I was really anxious to get, and when I got it, I was super stoked. Um, and I think we all should know what Snapcaster Mage does, but it's a 2-drop with flash. It's a 2/1. When it enters, target instant or sorcery in your graveyard gains flashback, and the flashback's equal to its mana cost. So you could do some good stuff with instants. You can obviously use this to get a sorcery back if you need to. It's really handy, little Swiss Army knife. The next section is going to be cards that care about having my tokens, having my tentacles. So we're going to get through some token related things. And this next card is the card that I mentioned earlier that I've always wanted to build around, and that is Nadir Kraken. Nadir Kraken is the only other card that makes tentacles, and I loved it when it came out. This is from the newer Theros set. But it says whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on Nadir Kraken and create a 1/1 blue tentacle token. This dude can get huge. Like, he can get really, really big. He has ended an opponent's game. I have swung in for lethal with him. And the tentacle aspect of it is also, it contributes to that sort of end game. I have a lot of tentacles. I can do things with those to win the game situation. The next one is new, and it creates tokens. So I included it, but it's Glen Elendra's Answer. This is from the new Lorwyn set, and it's a 4-cost counter spell that says it can't be countered, and it counters all spells your opponents control and all abilities your opponents control. And then you create a 1/1 blue and black fairy creature token with flying for each spell and ability countered this way. It's reads pretty well. I haven't actually cast it yet, but I can imagine it could do some pretty nasty stuff and possibly just make me some 1/1 flyers to protect my butt. Um, The next one is kind of a fun one, Junk Winder. No one, I don't know if anyone, I've never met anyone else that's played this card. But Junk Winder is a 7-drop um, serpent 5/6, but it has affinity for tokens. So the more tokens you have, the less colorless mana it costs. So I have cast it easily for 2 blue. And it says whenever a token enters the battlefield under your control, you tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls, and that doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So this is gonna get into the theme of what kind of can end up happening late game in this deck if you let it go too long, or I don't get to a win con, which is I can start just tapping people's things and they become tapped. We'll say somewhat permanently.
Yep.
The next card is good old Phyrexian Arena. This allows us to sacrifice our tentacles to get mana. And remember, when a tentacle dies, we can untap a Kraken and we can put a stun counter on something. So when you start pairing it with stuff like Junk Winder, you can start putting stun counters on things in addition to them not untapping during their next untap phase. So when they can untap, they're still not untapping.
Love this art on the Phyrexian altar, by the way. Very
Oh
cool.
yeah, this is I think Ultimate Masters. This version.
Yep.
Got this during the pandemic at a steal. They used to be like $20 during the pandemic.
What are they now?
So
35? Oh,
it's like
50?
$40, $40, 40 to
Yep.
50, depending on the printing. The next card, same altar series. We're doing Ashnod's Altar, sack for 2 colorless. This can fuel a bunch of stuff. Again, sacrificing tentacles here. And what's great about this is you can sack tentacles to this to cast cards that are going to get you to draw on your opponent's turns and then get your tentacles right back.
Yeah, it seems like if you breathe wrong, you could go infinite with some of these.
It gets there. Yes.
Yeah.
The next one is this one's really cool. I think this is great in a lot of different decks that care about creatures dying or things actually just permanents dying. It's called Perilous Research. And this card is a 2-drop instant that allows you to draw 2 cards, then sacrifice a permanent. So this is actually great in a lot of decks that would care about losing certain permanent types if you're in blue. And it lets you draw 2, and it's only a 2-drop, and it's at instant speed. So it's a really, really good little card.
And you get the tentacles first. So even if you have 0,
Yeah. So
you're
yeah. So and I have actually drawn 2, made 2 tentacles, and then sacrificed one of the tentacles to the effect to then trigger Watcher in the Water to untap a Kraken and put a stun counter on something. Yes.
gross. Yeah, I
Mhm.
play Perilous Research in my curses deck because I want to sacrifice my curses pretty frequently. And
Mhm.
there's not a whole lot of sacrifice of permanent effects in the game.
Yep.
Especially in the colors of the curse deck, which is Grixis. So yeah, it's a key
Yep.
piece. Very
It's
cool.
good. It's good. The next one is one of my kind of favorite mechanics. I wish there was more of them, but it's the bargain mechanic. And bargaining is cool and unique because it does a couple things in this deck. So bargain. So this is Ice Out. Ice Out allows you for 3 mana to just counter a spell, kind of no strings attached. Although if you bargain Ice Out, you pay 1 colorless less. And what bargaining is you can sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast the spell. So you can use your tentacles as currency here. You can also use cards that maybe you don't want on the board anymore. So if like the person you put psychic possession on is like not drawing anymore because their stuff got wiped out, you could bargain and sacrifice the psychic possession as an enchantment to pay the bargain cost. If your Sapphire Medallion doesn't really matter anymore, you could bargain the Sapphire Medallion. I've definitely bargained more than just tentacles with this, and it's been pretty handy.
Very cool.
And then same thing in the bargain space. I just love the art too. Farsight Ritual. It has bargain. You look at the top 4 of your library. If the spell was bargained, you look instead at the top 8 and you put 2 of those cards into your hand and the rest onto the bottom of your library. So it's just a nice little instant speed dig spell that you can bargain and get a little bit more value from. And then what's a token deck without Convoke? So we do have a couple Convoke spells. We have Artistic Refusal. I was like yelling at Zach to pull this in draft this week. It's a really good card. It's a 6-drop, but it has Convoke, and you can choose one or both effects. You can either counter target spell, or you can draw 2 and discard a card, or you can do both. Usually I'm doing both. Although sometimes if it doesn't matter, I might cast it just to get 2 more tentacles, and use those to do something else if I need it.
We did do both on stream. We did.
Yep. You did. And then the next one is also a Convoke spell. This is a newer one, and this specific version is a Store Championship version, but it is Transcendent Message. I believe this is from Murders at March of the Machines. I can't remember which set. I think it might be Murders in Karlov Manor, whatever. But as Convoke, it's a 4 blue pip and X, and it has Convoke, and you just draw X cards at instant speed. That's it. Nothing crazy. But it can draw you a lot of cards if you have a lot of tentacles, and it's a net 0. You tap 6 tentacles to draw 6, and then you get 6 tentacles right back. So it definitely has the value there. The next few cards are going to be kind of some protection stuff and some ways that I can clear the board, just to either protect myself or really just to honestly protect myself long enough to end up winning. And then some spot removal. So in blue, we're running Reality Shift. That lets us exile target creature, and the controller manifests the top card. Okay, that's never backfired yet. I should knock on wood there. The next one's Pondify, another blue staple, spot removal, destroy target creature, and then their opponent gets a 3/3 ape, whatever. And then same thing, rapid hybridization, destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated. That's weirdly kind of more relevant now with stuff like Wolverine floating around. And then that creature's controller puts a 3/3 green frog lizard creature token on the battlefield. And then for some board wipes, quote unquote board wipes, we have, of course, Cyclonic Rift in there. Definitely Cyc Rifting, usually to just get another turn. I'm not really using any of these board wipes to swing in and win the game. I'm using them just to keep myself protected usually. The next one is another banger, Scourge of Fleets. And these are all one-sided board wipes, by the way. So return all non-land permanents your opponent's control if you cast it for overload. I have casted it without overload, which is nice to have. Scourge of Fleets is kind of the same thing. You return each creature to your opponent's control with toughness X or less, where X is the number of islands you control. That's almost always going to be everything after a certain point in the game. And then the final one of these is, this card's really good too. It's not super expensive. I'd pick some up if you run blue or if you have a mono blue deck, but it's called Spectral Deluge. And this is return each creature your opponent's control with toughness X or less to their owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control, and it has foretell. So I have played this early game and then just kept it foretold. People forget about it, and then I can cast it for 3 for its foretell cost, and just send everything back. And kind of next up is my land package, which is basically just all islands. There are very few cards in this deck that are not islands. Actually, there's only one, I think. Oh no, Reliquary Tower and one other one. So there's 34 islands, I think, if memory serves me right. But there also is this little cool card called Moonring Island, which is from original Lorwyn or Shadowmoor, sorry. And it's an island, It comes into play tapped, but you can pay a blue and tap it to look at the top player or the top card of a player's library. That's it. It's super dumb. I've never actually, I don't think, used its ability, but it's just a fun card to put out there and be like, hey, did you know that this card existed? And it's an island, so it counts to, spectral deluge you or whatever I'm doing.
Love it.
All right, we're getting close here. The next few cards are also going to be some protection things, just to keep myself safe. And this one's actually really cool. It's again another good board wipe, and this is Profaner of the Dead. Profaner of the Dead is a 4-drop 3/3 Naga wizard, and it has exploit. So when it enters the battlefield, I may sacrifice a creature. When Profaner of the Dead exploits a creature, you return all their owners, return to the owner's hands all creatures with toughness less than the exploited creature's toughness. So I have used this and sacrificed Watcher in the Water to send everything back to my opponent's hands that has 9 or less toughness. Um, and that's again like when I'm getting into late game, I don't really need Watcher out there after a certain point, so he can be used for things like this.
And by that
And
time, you could just recast them on the cheap anyway.
yeah, I could. Correct. The next one is an oldie but a goodie. Also, kind of fun if it's out there because people are like, "Wait, what?" Is Glacial Chasm? Glacial Chasm is an old Ice Age land that doesn't tap for mana, but it has cumulative upkeep of me paying 2 life. When it comes into play, I have to sacrifice a land, but I cannot attack, and all damage dealt is reduced to 0 for me. So this is super relevant in a lot of games. It kind of bothers people when it comes out. Um, but I've taken 2 life and then 4 and then 6. So I do put a clock on myself if I do play this. So typically I won't be playing this until I know I'm getting to the point where I can start making some moves to try to win.
How many turns does it take to kill you if you're at 40? I'm trying to do the math. It's like an algorithm, right?
2 and then 6 and
And then
then
12,
12 and then 20 and then 30 and then I think I'm dead. So 5 turns,
5 turns. Okay.
I think.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, the next stuff is the stuff that I have tuned down heavily, but this is the stuff that essentially just is my um let's call it what it is. It's stack stuff. That's what this deck does a little bit and a lot less more than it used to. So the first card is Harbinger of the Seas. This card turns non-basic lands into islands. It's like Blood Moon for blue, and it's actually really good. Every time I've played it, there's at least one player that's like, "Wait, what? All what do you mean? I'm running Wooburg. How am I supposed to tap for what I need?" It's like you can't. And
You
it,
can't.
it is kind of fun because it unifies the board against one singular card, as we talked about earlier.
It's a puzzle.
People will figure out how to get this card removed. They will make what we would call natural alliances, and they will figure out how to get it off the board. The next one is Back to Basics. This is the Urza's Saga card for 3. Non-basic lands do not untap during their controller's untap phases. As we spoke about, this card is almost all basic lands, so I don't care about this. In the same vein as Back to Basics, we also have Winter Moon, which players can't untap more than 1 non-basic land during their untap steps. So there you go. The next one is a creature tapper, and that is called Dream Tides. This is an old one from Visions. It's a 4-drop enchantment. Creatures do not untap during their controller's untap phase. However, each non-green creature's controller may pay an additional 2 during his or her upkeep to untap that creature. So if you're running non-green creatures, you can still untap them. You just have to pay 2 to do so. But if you're in green, then maybe you're just gonna out of luck right now. And then we have our next. This dude actually does some work. I love the art on this card. It's Niblis of Frost. This is from Eldritch Moon. And Niblis of Frost is a 4-drop spirit 3/3 with flying and prowess, which actually does do some work. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you tap target creature an opponent controls, and it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. I have tapped down people's things single-handedly with this card, with this deck. It is really good. The next one actually came from our stream. Somebody, I think it might have been Zach. It could have been Jared. I think it was you, Jared, when you were rage opening Baldur's Gate. We came upon this card, Illithid Harvester. And Illithid, however you want to say it, Harvester is an adventure spell. So the first half of it is a sorcery. For plant tadpoles, it's X and 2 blue. You tap X target creatures. They don't untap during their controller's untap step, which is cool. Then, if you play Illithid Harvester for 5, it enters and Ceramorphosis happens, which when it enters the battlefield, turn any number of target tapped non-token creatures face down. And they are now 2/2 horror creatures. There's not a lot of decks that are turning things face back up. So this card is actually a pretty good little board wipe in a way, or at least a way to turn your opponent's stuff into some boring, not fun stuff. This also does kind of cripple commanders as well, because you are flipping them. It's not moving zones, so they cannot choose to put it back in the command zone.
Yep. And this card is in Brennard, so that's where we talked about it.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
If you ever wanted to see a cute Illithid as a gingerbread boy, go check out the Brennard deck tech, and you'll learn about that.
For sure. All right, the next one is also kind of a fun one, and it's called Lost in the Maze. This is an enchantment for X and 2 blue. It has flash. When Lost in the Maze enters, you tap X target creatures, and you put a stun counter on each of those creatures you don't control. And in addition, once it's on the battlefield, tapped creatures that I control have hexproof. So this is actually a good protection for Watcher. I've actually played it for 2 just to have him have hexproof, so I don't have to worry about it as much. But it's also good, if I have some stuff out that I don't want to die and I attack with it, or it gets tapped for some reason, I convoke stuff. Owlette's got hexproof now, which is cool. This next one is gross. I'm just going to preface it, and it's the card Fear of Sleep Paralysis.
Cool art.
This is it's great art. It's from Duskmourn Commander. It's a 6-drop 6/6 with flying. And when it enters, or another enchantment enters, or a room gets fully unlocked by me, I tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. Okay, cool. The second ability is absolutely terrible, which is stun counters can't be removed from permanents your opponents control.
Yucky.
I have completely shut down boards with this card, and it can get real bad if this hits the board, and it can continue to be bad if you don't get rid of it and stun counters start piling up.
Thank goodness it's a creature.
Yeah, and it's an enchantment. It's an enchantment too. You can also get rid of it with enchantment removal.
Yeah, but you can blow this thing up every which way. Like,
Yeah.
I almost would say 6 mana enchantment version of this.
Yeah.
Is worse, even though you don't get a 6/6 flying body. Like, it's just gross.
And I did just get a message from somebody saying it's ironic you're talking about this deck after we just talked about what makes Magic fun. I don't play this deck with people that I don't have a healthy relationship with. This is definitely a deck that I play with my closest friends or people that I explain the deck to and they understand somewhat what they're getting into.
It is just so funny to me.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
It's almost as if I planned it that way, Ian.
Yeah, I know. All right, so the next few cards are again. This is all just mostly protecting myself. I'm not actively trying to play these out, but I got like all the free counter spells. So I do have Flare of Denial. This one's a little. I don't usually play this one for free because I have to sacrifice a non-token blue creature, but I could if I wanted to. I do have Fierce Guardianship in there. Watcher in the Water being out is kind of the shtick, so chances are I am going to have it. And then finally, this was actually like a huge moment for me as a Magic player. But I do have an Alliances original Force of Will in this deck. Very proud of finally getting one of these cards. It took me like my whole Magic career until like 2 months ago to get it. Thank you, Braxton. Or no, thank you, Zach from Card Traders of Austin for trading this with me because it really made my collection that much more complete. And then we get into just some silly stuff that I put in here just because I like playing them. The first one is Desertion. This is a counter spell from Visions. Desertion counters a spell for 5. And if that spell is an artifact or creature spell, you put it into play under your control. So that's cool. The next card is Scroll of Isildur, which is a saga. And Scroll of Isildur says on phase 1, you gain control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control Scroll of Isildur, and the ring tempts me. I'm almost always stealing someone's Soul Ring or an Arcane Signet or something, unless there's something way more dastardly on the board, like boots or a sword or something like that is giving people grief. The second phase is I put up to 2. I tap up to 2 target creatures and put a stun counter on each of them. And then the third phase, I draw a card for each tapped creature that target opponent controls. So I can target anybody and draw that many cards. The next card is absolutely silly. And if you haven't played this card, I actually bought a bunch of copies to like trade people because if you don't own it, it's just fun to have. It's called Perplexing Chimera. This card is wild. um, so it's a 5-drop 3/3, and it just says something super simple, right? Which is whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may exchange control of Perplexing Chimera and that spell. If you do, you can choose new targets for the spell. So this kind of just always is like a big "Are you sure?" button on the table when it's out. Um, at least when I have it, it's like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Because like I can take your Craterfoot Behemoth, or I can take that spell that you're casting if you do cast it. Um, but then once I allow it to go to somebody else, then that person now has this like "Are you sure?" button that's on the table. So it does kind of introduce an interesting dynamic for the whole table. Um, it's fun. The next card I put in here, it really could be in a lot of other decks and play a better role, but I just do love it so much. And it's Gilded Drake. So I have a Gilded Drake in here. Another card it's a prized card of mine that I kind of eventually decided to buy. And it's fun. Gilded Drake is a 2-drop. It has flying. It's a 3/3. And when it comes into play, you exchange control of it with a creature that one of your opponents controls. So this is a really easy way to just grab someone's commander if they're getting out of hand, or grab a creature that is going to help you, maybe a flyer or something with a good ability that might let you draw more on your opponent's turn, stuff like that. And then the last one, and then we'll get into just how we win because I saved that for last. The last card to share here is a fun one. I forgot I had it, and then I decided to put it in, and I cast it, and it was really fun. It's called Mation the Mind Cage. Mation the Mind Cage is a 7-drop for 4 and 3 blue, and it says it's a legendary enchantment from Kamigawa, original Kamigawa. All creatures get -X/-0, where X is the total number of cards in your hand. So this deck, again, I think when I played it, Clark can correct me on this one, but I think when I played it, I had 9 or 10 cards in my hand. So everything just got -9.
Mhm.
And even if you're attacking me, it's not going to do anything. And I will continue to draw cards as we've seen in the deck.
Yep.
So how do I win? There's a few ways. The first way I can win is with 20-toed Toad,
Yes.
which is an amazing name for a card that is pretty fun to play. 20-toed Toad is a 3/3 frog wizard for 4. My maximum hand size is 20 when I have it out. Whenever I attack with 2 or more creatures, I put a 1/1 counter on 20-toed Toad and I draw a card. That actually, I do trigger that from time to time with him because I'll just swing with 2 tentacles and not care, just to get him a little bigger and draw a card from it. And whenever 20-toed Toad attacks, you win the game if there are 20 or more counters on it, or you have 20 or more cards in hand. Obviously, we're going for option B there. I've never gotten him much bigger than maybe +5/+5. The next card is Psychosis Crawler. This card has won me the game. Psychosis Crawler is a 5-drop artifact creature. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in my hand. And whenever I draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. So this card can also wipe the board and the players within it.
Yep.
Next win con is Laboratory Maniac. Some of you may have seen this one coming. If I draw a card when there's no cards in my library, I win. The alternative to Lab Man is Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. Same effect. It also, it's a planeswalker, so I can also bump it up 1. Target player puts the top 2 cards of their library in their graveyard, and then I draw a card. Or I can -8 him and draw 7. Then, if my library has no cards, I win the game. And then finally, how can I get rid of my library? I have absolutely drawn all those cards, just with the effects I usually have. But if I want to just kind of accelerate and end up winning, I can play Kindred Discovery and choose Tentacle as my creature type. Fun fact about this: if you play Kindred Discovery and you don't have your win con on board, you actually will lose if a tentacle enters, because it is not a May ability. And there's no way to interact with it once it gets going. I found that out the hard way on Arena one time, which was kind of fun. But it's a 5-drop enchantment. When it enters, you choose a creature type. Whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, you draw a card. So essentially, if you get a tentacle out, you draw, make another tentacle, draw, you'll draw your whole deck, and then you win. And the final card that can get me through my library at instant speed, no questions asked, is a card from Alliances. Again, I think theme of the night, Alliances was a good set. It's a
No
four
joke.
drop called Thought Lash. Thought Lash is a 4-drop enchantment. It has cumulative upkeep of removing the top card of your library from the game. And if you do not do it, you remove your library from the game and bury Thought Lash. So if you don't pay the cumulative upkeep, you just lose your whole library. But in addition to that way to get rid of the library, you can also pay nothing and just remove. This is when 0 casting cost was a thing. You can remove the top card of your library from the game to prevent 1 damage to you. So
Whoa.
you can just at instant speed remove your entire library from the game, preventing all the damage that you're probably not taking in that moment, and then just play a card to draw with Labman or Jace out, and you'll win.
I feel like I should know this card. I feel like Thought Lash rings a bell, but
Yeah.
I don't remember it being an unlimited remove the top card of your library from the game. That's crazy.
That's cool as
Mhm.
hell.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And you can just choose to not pay the cumulative upkeep, and that'll also just remove your library from the game. So a couple different ways, and it's at upkeep. So all you got to do after that is draw somehow, which isn't going to be
If you
too
got
tough.
if you've got Labman out, then you boom.
Mhm. Yep.
Done.
And usually, what end game looks like for this, when I have a piece or pieces to win, is I'll try to make sure I have some counter spells on board just to protect what I need to cast to get the win, and then I'll call it a day.
Nice.
Mhm.
What
Yep.
a cool deck, dude. And actually, kind of like we said earlier about the fun thing, it's so cool to actually. I've played this deck a few times, and it can be frustrating. But now that I know like the story behind the deck, I have a different appreciation. Like I'm looking forward to the next time I play this deck.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, and like I said, it started out super oppressive. It was like a full blown mono blue stacks deck. I had
I
Winter
remember those
Orb. I
days.
had
I remember those
actually
days.
the first time I ever played Zach, I played this deck. Actually, I
I
think.
remember those days very well.
I had Winter Orb, I had Static Orb, I had
But
Rising Tide, which is also super
ironically,
gross.
if not for that game, I like because that game was a lot of fun. If not for that game, the first time I played this, I probably would have a very different light of it. Like I've never really minded uh this deck because I've played it a few times just like Jared has, and I've seen different iterations of it, and it's always just fun seeing the tricky things that this deck does, even
Yep.
when you are like getting stacks out in a a
Yeah.
4-color Aragorn deck or whatever the
Well,
case might have you.
and listen, like there's because the deck has a lot of different kind of angles to it, like there's technically a few different ways to win with this, right? You could draw
Yep.
your whole library. You
You'll be able
could
to.
obviously have a hand size that's a certain size. You could also draw to do damage to the table. Those are like the kind of more straightforward ways to win. But also like there have been games where I'm just like, you know what? I want to see if I could win through combat, and I
Yep.
want to see if I can just overwhelm someone with tentacles and just take over the board
Yeah,
with attackers. So there have been conscious decisions I've made when playing this deck where I'm like, I could totally win with Lab Man again. That's fine, but I don't want to do that today. So um, yeah, it's one of those things. Like especially when you play a deck enough. Um, it kind of becomes its own like mini game to figure out how you can win with it if there's other ways to do it.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, that is yet like choosing how your deck plays is also another part of those things over like making the game fun for yourself and everyone else too.
yep, yep.
Love
So
it.
yeah, that's Watcher on the Water, everybody. Thanks for letting me talk y'all through it.
Very cool.
Again, it's one of my favorites. All
All
right.
I
right.
very much enjoyed the changes that I got to see with this deck, and just like Jared, I'm looking forward to the next one. Next time we
Yep.
play it.
The new additions are great. I'm so glad you put the Illithid in there. It's perfect for
Me
that.
too.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. And there's cards like I think, and if you notice, like I don't run Soul Ring, I don't run Arcane Signet. I only run Sapphire Medallion, and I was actually really close to just pulling that out too. I don't run tutors. I don't run any of that. Like I felt like this deck was again like it's mean enough when it goes off that like it's no fun to be on the receiving side. And I wanted to be somewhat respectful to the table and say like let's just kind of like let it slow roll, because that's sort of the theme too. Like he comes out with 9 stun counters. It's not really supposed to be anything crazy. And I think earning it without all that other stuff kind of, I like handicapping my deck. That's another thing I didn't mention earlier. I like to handicap my decks sometimes just to see if I can do it, and
Yep.
still pull out a win without having. Zach and I have had a lot of conversations about this, but like I don't play Soul Ring or Arcane Signet in a lot of decks. Um, I think it's just I don't think you need it.
Yep.
That's a
I think you
topic
can
for a
play just.
different
I think
week
you play.
for sure.
I think you play just as good a game without them as you can with them. And it's more fun, I think, to stay on theme and have cards in there that you like to play than just auto include 2 or more cards for the sake of it.
Yep.
Anyways, we could talk about that again later. All right, we should probably wrap up.
It is time.
It's that
to wrap
time. Yep. Thanks everybody for joining. For those that stuck around, we're down to only a couple people, which is probably like me and one other person. But again, just if you're still watching, if you watch this later, we super appreciate you tuning in, spending your Thursday night with us. I'll turn it over to Jared for parting remarks as well, and Zach, and then we'll get going.
Yep, much appreciation for everybody who joined. We had Zach do a quick little shout out in the Discord that maybe we're going to get Ian to cry on camera, and I think we got real close. So super grateful to have the community that we have. We enjoyed this every single week. We look forward to it. I know the three of us certainly do. Yeah, and looking forward to seeing everybody in person at our next event.
Mm-hmm. And then stay tuned. Wednesday, episode 2 of Constant Misplays is going to be coming out. So stay tuned for that. It's a super fun game. Clark's in that one, like we talked about last week. I'm in there. Jared and Ian are in there. And then, we hope to put those out, once every couple of weeks. So just stay tuned for next ones. And
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody again. Have a great rest of your Thursday night, what's left of it. And we'll talk to you all next week, same time, same channel. And Wednesday for constant misplays, Tuesday for
Rough
draft. We're getting programming on top of programming. So thanks for the support. We'll talk to y'all very soon. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, y'all.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.